Once upon a time, in the quiet town of Greenbow, Alabama, there lived a man named Bubba. Bubba was known far and wide for his love of shrimp. He couldn't get enough of it. Fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, shrimp gumbo, shrimp kebabs, you name it, Bubba loved it. But his shrimp obsession took a toll on his health, and Bubba found himself overweight and sluggish. Determined to turn his life around, Bubba embarked on a journey to overcome his shrimp addiction. With the support of his friend Forrest Gump, who had struck it big with the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Bubba sought help and gradually weaned himself off his beloved crustaceans. It was a difficult journey filled with cravings and setbacks, but Bubba persevered, fueled by the hope of a healthier future. As Bubba's health improved, so did his outlook on life. He began to explore new interests and hobbies, seeking fulfillment beyond the confines of his shrimp addiction. But just when things seemed to be looking up, Bubba received an unexpected windfall from Forrest. With newfound wealth at his disposal, Bubba's life took an unexpected turn. Instead of using the money wisely, Bubba found himself drawn to the adrenaline rush of gambling. At first, it started innocently enough, a friendly wager on a game of cards, a bet on the outcome of a sporting event. But soon, Bubba's gambling habit spiraled out of control. No longer satisfied with traditional forms of gambling, Bubba began to seek out more unconventional ways to get his fix. He would bet on anything and everything, from the weather forecast to the number of steps it took to walk from his front door to the mailbox. Nothing was off limits to Bubba's insatiable appetite for risk. As Bubba's gambling addiction deepened, so did the strain on his relationships and finances. His friends and family grew increasingly concerned, but Bubba was blind to their pleas for him to seek help. He was consumed by the thrill of the gamble, unable to see the destructive path he was on. It wasn't until Bubba found himself on the brink of financial ruin that he finally realized the extent of his addiction. With the help of his friends, including the ever-loyal Forrest, Bubba sought treatment for his gambling problem. It was a long and difficult road to recovery, filled with setbacks and challenges, but Bubba was determined to overcome his demons once and for all. In the end, Bubba emerged from the depths of his addiction stronger and wiser than ever before. With the support of his loved ones, he was able to rebuild his life and find happiness in the simple pleasures once more. And though the temptation to gamble would always linger in the back of his mind, Bubba knew that he had the strength to resist, one day at a time. As Bubba struggled to overcome his gambling addiction, another temptation lurked in the shadows: his old love for shrimp. Despite his best efforts to leave his shrimp obsession behind, the sight and smell of those succulent crustaceans proved too much for Bubba to resist. At first, it started innocently enough, a nostalgic trip to the local seafood restaurant with friends, where Bubba convinced himself that he could indulge in just one serving of shrimp. But one serving turned into two, and two turned into three, until Bubba found himself right back where he started, gorging on shrimp like there was no tomorrow. His friends and family watched in dismay as Bubba fell back into his old habits, his once promising journey towards recovery derailed by the siren call of shrimp. Despite their efforts to intervene, Bubba seemed powerless to break free from the grip of his addiction. But just as all hope seemed lost, Bubba had a revelation. He realized that his addiction to shrimp, much like his addiction to gambling, was a symptom of a deeper problem, one that could only be addressed by confronting the root causes of his behavior. With newfound determination, Bubba sought out professional help and began to explore the underlying issues that had led him down this path of self-destruction. Through therapy and self-reflection, he uncovered the insecurities and traumas that had driven him to seek solace in food and gambling. Armed with this newfound self-awareness, Bubba embarked on a holistic journey towards healing, addressing not only his addictive behaviors but also the emotional wounds that had long plagued him. It was a challenging process, filled with ups and downs, but Bubba refused to give up. Slowly but surely, Bubba began to reclaim control of his life. He learned to moderate his consumption of shrimp, enjoying it in moderation rather than allowing it to consume him. And as he made peace with his past and embraced a healthier lifestyle, Bubba found that the cravings for shrimp and the allure of gambling began to fade away. In the end, Bubba emerged from his struggles stronger and more resilient than ever before. He had conquered his demons and emerged victorious, a testament to the power of perseverance and the human spirit. And though the road ahead would undoubtedly be challenging, Bubba knew that he had the strength and support to face whatever obstacles came his way. Tragically, despite his efforts to overcome his addictions and reclaim control of his life, fate had other plans for Bubba. One fateful day, while out on a shrimp boat, a sudden storm swept across the waters, tossing the vessel about like a mere toy. In the chaos that ensued, Bubba lost his footing and was swept overboard. Despite the valiant efforts of his crewmates to rescue him, the turbulent waters proved too much to overcome. Bubba disappeared beneath the waves, lost to the depths of the ocean he had once traversed in search of his beloved shrimp. Media. The news of Bubba's untimely demise sent shockwaves through the community, leaving his friends and loved ones reeling with grief. They mourned the loss of a man who had battled so bravely against his demons, only to meet his end in such a cruel twist of fate. The news of Bubba's untimely demise sent shockwaves through the community, leaving his friends and loved ones reeling with grief. They mourned the loss of a man who had battled so bravely against his demons, only to meet his end in such a cruel twist of fate. As they gathered to pay their final respects, Bubba's friends found solace in the memories of the man he had been, a kind-hearted soul with a passion for shrimp and a zest for life. Though his journey had been fraught with struggles and setbacks, Bubba had never lost sight of his dreams or his capacity for love. And so, as they bid farewell to their dear friend, they vowed to honor his memory by living their lives to the fullest, cherishing each moment and never taking anything for granted. For in the end, they knew that Bubba's spirit would live on in the hearts of all who had been touched by his presence, a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. As fate would have it, amidst the grief and sorrow that consumed the community following Bubba's tragic accident, a glimmer of bittersweet serendipity emerged. As Forrest and his crew continued their shrimping endeavors, casting their nets into the depths of the ocean, they made a startling discovery. Caught within the mesh of the shrimping net lay Bubba's lifeless body, returned to the surface by the very waters that had claimed him. It was a moment of profound shock and disbelief for Forrest and his crewmates, who had never imagined they would find their friend in such a manner. With heavy hearts and tear-filled eyes, they hoisted Bubba's body onto the deck of the boat, cradling him in their arms with a mixture of reverence and sorrow. Though they knew that Bubba was gone, his presence seemed to linger, a silent reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictability of the sea. In the days that followed, the community came together once more to bid farewell to Bubba, this time with a sense of closure and acceptance. They laid him to rest with the dignity and respect befitting a man who had touched so many lives with his kindness and generosity. And as they stood by his graveside, surrounded by the beauty of nature that had always been Bubba's greatest love, they found solace in the knowledge that he would live on in their memories forever. For though he had been taken from them far too soon, Bubba's spirit would continue to guide and inspire them, a beacon of light in the darkness of their grief.